Welcome back, future CMAs. As your instructor, there is literally nothing I love more than helping you untangle these complex topics so you can absolutely crush the performance management section of your exam. I know this syllabus inside and out, and I am super dedicated to giving you the high-quality insights you need to pass with flying colors. So let's jump right into this explainer and get to work. Okay, here is our roadmap for today. We're going to define true KPIs, compare leading versus lagging indicators, break down the balanced scorecard, look at how to build effective metrics, and finally, tie it all together into the strategic big picture. First up, Section 1, defining true KPIs and moving beyond the hard numbers. As CMA candidates, we spend a massive amount of time crunching hard financial numbers, right? Things like return on investment and profitability. But here's the reality check. Those numbers, they only tell the story of yesterday. We need to look forward. Think of a key performance indicator, a KPI, as the literal dashboard of your business. When you're driving your car, you don't wait until the trip is completely over to check if you have enough fuel. Your dashboard gives you that real-time feedback. Well, in business, KPIs do the exact same thing. They tell us if we're actually on track to meet our strategic goals way before the official financial statements ever get printed. Now, a company might track, 1,000 different data points. But out of all those, only a vital few are truly, key. For the exam, you've got to remember the SMART criteria. A metric only earns the title of a KPI if it's specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. If it doesn't hit those marks, honestly, it's just noise. And here is an absolutely crucial point you need to remember. A KPI must link to strategy. Let's say a company's core strategy is innovation, but management is strictly measuring cost per unit. Well, that misalignment is going to lead straight to failure. Why? Because you aren't incentivizing in new ideas. You're just incentivizing cheap production. Watch out for that. It is a really common trap on the exam. All right, Section 2, leading versus lagging indicators, predicting the future versus reading the past. Okay, so this is a foundational CMA concept. To manage effectively, we really have to categorize our performance metrics by time. On one side, we have lagging indicators. These are your after-the-fact measures, things like net income or ROI. Now, they are super important, but they basically just tell you how the race ended. They cannot help you adjust your strategy while you are still out there running. Leading indicators, on the other hand, well, they're predictive. They point toward future results, and they give you those real-time insights you need to actually tweak your strategy and win that race. Let's actually map this out into a real-world scenario. Check out this brilliant chain reaction. We start at step 1, employee training hours. That is a purely leading indicator. By bumping up training, you naturally improve step 2, which is product quality. And guess what? Better quality directly drives step 3, customer satisfaction. Finally, all those highly satisfied customers, they lead to step 4, sales growth, which is your lagging financial result. So if an exam question asks how to predict future financial success, always look for that leading indicator at the very front of the chain. Moving on to Section 3, the balanced scorecard, how we avoid financial tunnel vision. So this is the ultimate framework to make sure leaders don't get completely distracted by just looking at the money. The absolute genius of the balanced scorecard is that it forces managers to keep a perfectly balanced view by asking 4 very distinct questions. First, financial, how should we appear to our shareholders? Second, customer. How should we appear to our customers? Third, internal processes. What operations must we absolutely excel at? And fourth, learning and growth. How do we sustain our ability to continuously improve? All 4 of these slices have to remain in perfect balance. I highly recommend treating this next part as your own personal exam cheat sheet. Let's walk right through it. Under the financial perspective, which remember, measures economic success, you're going to find metrics like ROI, residual income, or gross margin percentage. Under customer, which is all about value delivery, you'll see things like customer retention and brand awareness. Then, internal process measures operational excellence. Think metrics like manufacturing cycle efficiency or error rates. And finally, learning and growth. This measures future capability, using things like training hours or employee suggestion rates. Now lean in for a second, guys, because I want to share a direct tip from our source notes to help you dodge a very common exam trap. If a multiple choice question asks you where a metric like machine downtime fits, don't panic. Just think it through logically. A machine running is a process happening inside the factory, right? So it clearly belongs in the internal business process slice. Just trust your logic, and it will save you every single time. Okay, Section 4, building effective metrics. making the numbers actually work for you. We've talked a lot about the theory, so let's focus on the practical rules for designing numbers that work on the ground. What actually makes a KPI effective? Well, first, it has to be actionable. If a manager sees a red flag popping up on their dashboard, they need to know exactly which operational lever to pull to fix it. Second, it must be balanced. You simply cannot have 10 financial KPIs and 0 customer-focused ones. And third, it has to be understood. If the folks working on the shop floor have absolutely no idea how a metric like, say, yield rate is calculated, they aren't going to care about improving it. The math has got to be accessible to everyone. Which brings us to a term you are definitely going to see a lot: critical success factors, or CSFs. Now, it's super important to differentiate these from KPIs. CSFs are the broad, absolute must-haves for a company to simply survive and execute its vision. The KPIs, those are the specific, granular numbers we implement to measure if we are actually achieving those broad CSFs. And finally, Section 5, the strategic big picture, driving the right behavior. Let's bring it all home by looking at how these numbers actually impact human behavior, which honestly is the most critical part of performance management. Please pay close attention to this warning. Performance measures drive behavior, literally every single time. Let me give you a really vivid example. Imagine a company measures its customer service call center agents exclusively on call duration, meaning just how fast they can get off the phone. What do you think happens? Well, the agents will literally hang up on customers just to keep their average times low. It perfectly illustrates the sheer danger of measuring the wrong thing. So, the absolute crucial point when you're analyzing any performance system is ensuring goal congruence. Whenever you encounter a scenario on the CMA exam, I want you to ask yourself this exact question. Does this specific metric actually help the company reach its long-term strategy? You have got to guarantee that the quantitative metrics are perfectly aligned with the qualitative goals of the business. You guys have done an absolutely amazing job today. We've covered the quantitative, the qualitative, and you are well on your way to becoming a well-rounded CMA. But before we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a little provocative thought exercise just to test out your new strategic intuition. Think about this. If a company's overarching strategy is to be the lowest cost provider in their entire industry, which perspective of the balanced scorecard would likely hold the most KPIs? Would it be customer or would it be internal business process? Think carefully about where costs are truly controlled. Keep pushing forward with your studies, keep that strategic mindset sharp, and I'll catch you in the next one.